How you doing, people? Welcome to another episode of Sports Vibes Podcast, man. You already know the vibes. I'm your host, Richard Moss, a.k.a. Richie the Monster, a.k.a. Monster Big Boss, man. So, listen, this is Sports Vibes Podcast where we tackle the biggest stories in sports, okay? We talk about the biggest names in sports and all the news in the last week. So, today, we're going to get things started with the NFL. Everybody knows, unless you live under a rock, that it's Super Bowl 53, okay? Super Bowl week is upon us, people, all right? Sunday, 6:30, the Los Angeles Rams versus the New England Patriots, Super Bowl 53. Let's hear about it. As I told you last week, as far as my prediction goes, I do have the New England Patriots beating the Los Angeles Rams with a score of 31-23. I mean, listen, as much as I hate Brady and the Pats for what they did to my boys last year in the AFC Championship game. I mean, it's just impossible to bet against Brady. I mean, it's just Brady and Belichick, that combination, I mean, come on. The resume speaks for itself. 9 Super Bowl appearances, 13 or 14 AFC Championship appearances over a 19-year span. I don't think you understand how hard that is to do. I mean, just think about how tough 9 Super Bowls. Ridiculous. I mean, it's just, I just don't understand. I just don't think the Rams are going to be able to not even stop the Patriots, just stop Brady's greatness. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, whenever you need him most, Tom Brady shows up. I mean, rarely do you ever sit back and look at a Patriots game and say, hey, they lost that game because of Tom Brady. I mean, it just honestly does not happen. But if we are being fair, there is a chance that the Rams could beat the New England Patriots. How, you ask? To me, the pass rush. It all comes down to, can Aaron Donald and can Ndamukong Suh put enough pressure on Tom Brady to, force him into some bad throws, some bad decisions. I mean, he's dropped back 90 times in the playoffs, hasn't been sacked once. Think about that. They played the Kansas City Chiefs and they played the Chargers, okay? The Chiefs led the NFL in sacks, and the Chargers have one of the premier defensive players in the NFL, Joey Bosa, and they could not get any sacks on the New England Patriots. To tell you the truth, who we're not giving enough credit to, the Patriots' offensive line. I mean, the nameless heroes in all of this. I mean, can you even... I think they have a rookie starting at one of their positions on the offensive line. So, I mean, just you got to give credit where credit is due as far as the New England Patriots go. But it's just, to me, that's the only way the Rams are going to be able to beat the Patriots, is if they can get some sort of pass rush to Tom Brady, knock him down, rush some of his throws, get some hands on him. I mean, that's the only way I see them honestly really beating Brady, is if they're able to, do something with that pass rush. I mean, as far as the Rams go, now if the Rams do win the Super Bowl, I mean, what does that do for, it changes a lot of people's legacy. I mean, Wade Phillips becomes, 2-time Super Bowl champion as a defensive coordinator. Sean McVay, probably, I think he is the youngest head coach ever. Will be the youngest Super Bowl winning head coach ever at a Super Bowl. I mean, think about this. Sean McVay is 33, 34 years old. Think about that. Bill Belichick is almost 70. If Sean McVay coaches that, boy, that's a game changer. Jared Goff becomes a Super Bowl champion when it's time for him to get his money. I mean, Aaron Donald's already been paid. Todd Gurley's already been paid. I mean, Ndamukong Suh's on a 1-year deal. He becomes a Super Bowl champion. What is his, what does the market, do for him? Raises his level. Aqib Talib becomes a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Marcus Peters is a Super Bowl champion. I mean, all these makeshift pieces that the Rams were putting together in the beginning of the year, thinking to myself, like, I wasn't sure if it was going to work. I mean, it's a lot of personalities in that locker room. I mean, a lot. And, with different personalities, different egos, things can clash. People can disagree on a lot of things. But, I mean, listen, the Rams made it work. I did pick them as my, preseason Super Bowl pick, and it came to fruition. So, that's, what more can you say about that? But, I mean, all in all, New England Patriots, I mean, just as far as an organizational standpoint, just run, top tier organization from the top, from Robert Kraft, the owner, all the way down to, the equipment guys. I mean, just the Patriot way is just, I mean, how can you go against it? They win so much. Literally, this is probably like when Jordan played in the 90s. The Bulls were in the championship every year. It's just like, oh my gosh, like how do you stop that? How do you stop that? In other news, a lot of people are still talking about the blown call in New Orleans with the pass interference, and a lot of Saints players are really trying to put pressure on Roger Goodell to say something or acknowledge the situation and stuff. And I mean, I just don't understand what Saints fans, Saints players, Saints organization, what they want Roger Goodell to say. They've already said, look, we messed up. Blown call. It should have been pass interference. It should have been 1st and goal on, whatever, the 5-yard line, and stuff like that. And essentially, more than likely, the Saints probably would have won that game. But it didn't happen like that. What happened, and, we can only move forward from here. I mean, that's honestly the only thing that Roger Goodell can say. I mean, it's still not going to put the Saints in the Super Bowl. They're not going to replay the last 2 minutes of the game, and redo the whole Super Bowl. I mean, it just doesn't work like that. Listen, sometimes things happen. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, do I agree with it? No, not necessarily. I think, you try to get the game as fairly called as possible so that you don't violate the integrity of the game. But listen, this is a game. It's human error. Mistakes are gonna happen. I mean, that's just what it really comes down to. I mean, listen, I feel sorry for Saints fans. Shout out to y'all Saints fans. Listen, y'all have been through a lot, since, the last 15 years for you guys, have, there have been some good times and there'll be some really low times. But, I mean, look, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, and then anything that Roger Goodell says, I mean, now it's kind of like you discredit the Rams. I mean, as if they're not a Super Bowl worthy team. I mean, it's just, I just don't know what Roger Goodell could say to make anybody happy or everybody happy. It's just impossible, On a lighter note, the actual cornerback from the Rams who who actually initiated that blown call, Robbie Coleman, he made some headlines this week because, it's Super Bowl week, so it is media day. They asked him, a reporter asked him about, does he think Tom Brady is still playing at the same level, as he did in years past? And I mean, I feel like he gave an honest answer. I mean, he said, straight up no, which is true. I mean, you think about it, even just a year removed. I mean, last year Tom Brady won the MVP. A lot of people say Carson Wentz was probably the MVP till he got hurt, which I agree with. But, I mean, Tom Brady just won the MVP. I mean, how do you get higher than that? I mean, do I think Brady has lost a little bit of touch? I mean, of course. I mean, that's just age, attrition, another year of punishment on your body. His throws are not with the same velocity, not going down the field. But, I mean, he still wins. So, I mean, Robbie Coleman wasn't lying when he spoke the truth of Brady. But I mean, as a young player in the NFL, you know, or somebody should have, you know, let him know, like, look, man, you can't give the Patriots any more bulletin material than they already have. The Patriots already feel like the underdog, like everybody counted them out, like they're really the ones fighting for, you know, to be respected, like nobody respects them. Which, I mean, to me, I just don't think is true. But whatever you can use to motivate and fuel you, I mean, that's what you have to use. So, I mean, all in all, it's just, it's Tom Brady, man. It's Tom Brady. There's no other way to put it. This is what he does. He's a winner, a natural-born winner, a natural-born leader. You know, if he wins this, I mean, he'll be unequivocally the GOAT. I mean, we already have him as the GOAT once he won 5. Now with 6, I mean, nobody else on the planet Earth has 6 Super Bowl rings, okay? You know, nobody. It's only one other person besides Brady that has 5. So, you know, if Brady does win on Sunday, I mean, it'll put him in a class by his own self. I mean, they'll have to put Tom Brady in his own room in the Hall of Fame. Like, literally, when Tom Brady retires, if he wins on Sunday, I mean, even if he doesn't win, once Tom Brady says, I'm done with football, they should just bring his gold jacket out right then and there and put it on him. I mean, what more can you say about Tom Brady? You would have thought I was a Patriots fan, as much praise as I'm giving Tom Brady. I mean, if the Patriots do win, I think I did say last week that I feel like, you know, Tom and Bill Belichick will, you know, ride off in the sunset together. Now, Tom Brady basically called me a liar because he had an interview a couple days ago and said that it was 0 chance that this was his last game, that he wants to play, you know, till he's 45, which is another 3 years. And it's just, I don't see that happening. But if they win, can I see Tom maybe going 1 more year and being like, you know, because to me, I feel like you would want to go out on top. Who wouldn't want to go out? This is your 6th Super Bowl, you know, in 19 years. You're the only person on the planet with 6 Super Bowls. I mean, what more? Tom Brady has nothing left to prove, but he's still playing as if he's that 6th round draft pick. I mean, it's just, he's just the ultimate competitor, has the ultimate chip on his shoulder. As far as the Pats going forward, I mean, honestly, if they do win, I mean, if Tom comes back, I mean, more than likely, I'm pretty sure Bill will come back. I mean, I doubt Bill, you know, I mean, I'm assuming you can coach a lot longer than you can play. I mean, you're not getting hit, but honestly, I really think Bill Belichick wants to coach after Brady, you know, after Brady is gone, just for the simple fact so that people can say, well, hey, well, you know, look, he did it without Brady, or he was in positions to win without Brady, so maybe it was Bill Belichick that was kind of carrying the legacy. You know, just, you know, give something for people to talk about. Do I think that? No, I think they both needed each other. Tom needs Bill, Bill needs Tom. I mean, they work hand in hand, you know. Bill didn't win prior to Tom. I mean, unless you want to count when he was with the Giants, when he was the defensive coordinator and stuff like that. I mean, you know, but that was years past. The game has changed so much since the 80s. I mean, it's, you know, you have to change with the times and stuff like that. And like I said, and then, of course, you know, without Belichick creating that stable organization, you know, putting that franchise in, you know, in the way to go. I mean, obviously Bill is gonna pick his successor. You know, we know that. You know, I'm pretty sure Robert Kraft, you know, will, you know, give Bill that power, and, you know, Bill won't take it lightly. It's not gonna be, you know, trust me, you're not gonna have some, you know, rookie equipment manager just all of a sudden become the head coach of the New England Patriots after Bill Belichick leaves. I mean, I just don't think, you know, trust me, Bill Belichick is aware about legacy, and that, you know, and what his legacy will be once he leaves. So that's just how I see it. I don't think this is the Patriots' last run. Like I said, I mean, if Tom Brady's saying there's 0 chance this is his last game, I mean, you know, God forbid, unless there's like some traumatic career-ending injury he suffers in the Super Bowl, which I highly doubt. I mean, he's coming back. I mean, what I mean, look, the Patriots and the NFC East, probably, to me, the weakest division in the NFL. They're going to win that division again. And we already know, once you win the division, you know, you're guaranteed a home playoff game. You know, I mean, what more? It's just crazy, man. Listen, it's just the Patriots. That is the Patriots way. I mean, it's really nothing else left to say as far as that. I mean, Pats. Well, like I said, I mean, I would love to be wrong about my Patriots pick, you know, just because, you know, I'd love to see the Rams, you know, win a Super Bowl, but, you know, I'd love to see the Patriots. I mean, honestly, I don't care. I really don't have a dog in the fight, but if I was a betting man and I had to put my money on somebody, I'm going with New England. Like I said, 31-23. That is my final score. All right. Now, on to my second favorite sport of all time, basketball. The NBA, National Basketball Association. It's been a lot of news. A lot of news as far as the NBA goes this week. You know, as you know, a lot of, you know, as with football season winding down, this is about to be the last game played for the football season. Now everybody's starting to pay attention more and more to the NBA, and boy, do we have a lot to go. First and foremost, I would just like to talk about James Harden. I mean, listen, he won the MVP last year, which, you know, again, I thought he was deserving of. You know, a lot of people are going to say, you know, it's more of like we owe him MVP, you know, with him being, you know, second place like the last couple years and stuff like that. I mean, I think he earned it. You know, Rockets had the best record in the league. You know, he's the best player. So, you know, I mean, it's just, but James Harden has scored 30-plus points in the last 23 games. That is ridiculous, okay, with his scoring outburst. I mean, he's been doing it without his second best player in Chris Paul, and Clint Capella's out due to injury. I mean, there's no more Trevor Ariza, no more Mbah Moute. You know, PJ Tucker is still there, but I mean, this Rockets roster has really, you know, done a whole complete, you know, 180 essentially. But James Harden, I mean, is holding the ship afloat. Now, actually, one thing I do want to talk about that I don't think is getting enough credit, but I think was a great pickup for the Rockets, and that's the addition of Kenneth Faried. I mean, you know, we all know, you know, Kenneth Faried he was no superstar in Denver, but I mean, you get you a guy that can play the 4 or the 5, super athletic, you know, a great rebounder and stuff, and can really play the pick and roll very well with Chris Paul while Clint Capella is out. I mean, you know, you can either have him back up Clint Capella, or if I want to be honest, I really think you can play him and Capella on the floor at the same time. You know, I understand that, you know, their styles are somewhat similar, but I mean, to me, you can really, Kenneth Faried can run up and down the court, just as, you know, Clint Capella and things of that nature, and you really will need that type of style when you play the Golden State Warriors. I mean, really run up and down. I mean, Kenneth Faried can do it, or Clint Capella can do it. I mean, you know, a starting 5 of Chris Paul, James Harden, PJ Tucker, Kenneth Faried, and Clint Capella. I mean, that's not a bad starting 5. I mean, I honestly feel like I could put that starting 5 up against anybody in the Western Conference, honestly. I mean, so I really do like that addition for the Houston Rockets, Kenneth Faried. I mean, like I said, James Harden is really balling. If you were to put a gun to my head and ask me who my MVP is right now at this very moment, as much as James Harden is literally carrying an entire franchise on his back, I mean, the Greek Freak is essentially doing the same thing. You know, I mean, he has a little bit more help, you know, and I think he has a better coach, you know, with Budenholzer. But, I mean, the Greek Freak, I mean, his if you look at his improvements every single year, I mean, he just takes literally gigantic steps every single year. And I mean, in this year, I mean, he's just playing at a ridiculous clip. I mean, honestly, if you had to ask me, put a gun to my head, I'm going to go with Greek Freak as my MVP right now. But, I mean, he's just a hair above James Harden, in my opinion. I mean, I only give that because the Bucks do have the best record in the Eastern Conference. You know, the Rockets, you know, don't have the best record in the West, but it is the Western Conference. So, you know, you have to take things like that into consideration. But, I mean, just, you know, both just, you know, amazing players, superstars in their own right. But if I had to give the edge, I'm going to give the edge to Giannis on that one. The All-Star starters were announced, and so were the captains. So, in the Western Conference, you have Steph Curry, James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Paul George, all starting for the Western Conference. LeBron James is the captain. And to me, it just really goes to show, like, people don't understand. LeBron James is in his 16th year. I mean, just to be voted as a captain, this is going to be his 15th time starting. Okay, excuse me, no. Yeah, 15th time starting. 15th time starting. I mean, what more can you say about LeBron James? And LeBron James hasn't even played since Christmas Day. I mean, think about that. Almost a whole month he's missed, and he still gets voted as the starter. I mean, that just goes to show how great he is. I mean, everybody knows that he's great. I don't necessarily disagree with anybody on the list as far as the Western Conference go. To me, if, you know, I would have also liked to see Anthony Davis on there, but then you ask, who do you take off? I mean, you could take off Durant or PG, but they're also playing at, you know, at a very high clip, you know, especially Paul George. You know, Paul George has really stepped his game up, raised his game. I mean, he's honestly, you know, of course, you know, that's still Russell Westbrook's team, but Paul George is really trending in the direction to actually be better than Russell Westbrook, if he's not already better than Russell Westbrook. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, what is the only thing that Russell Westbrook has above PG as an MVP trophy? So, I mean, of course, like I said, that's still Russell Westbrook's team. But listen, do not sleep on Paul George. Paul George is right behind Russell Westbrook. So that's as far as the starters go in the Western Conference. On to the Eastern Conference, we have Giannis, we have Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, and I actually like this. Shouts out to Kemba Walker, okay, on his first All-Star start. I actually agree with this. I really and truly agree with this. I've heard some people say that instead of Kemba, they would have put John Wall in there. To me, I wouldn't have done that just for the simple fact, I mean, the Wizards are just underachieving. I mean, I don't know if it's coaching, if it's the roster, or if it's, you know, really John Wall and Bradley Beal cannot really coexist and win together. But, I mean, just to be an all-star, you got to have your team in a better position. And I'm just, you know, and I'm just think to myself, well, you know, I mean, but, you know, I will say that I think Kemba did start because of the injury to Victor Oladipo. If Victor Oladipo was still healthy, I think Kemba, you know, would be a reserve, and I would switch Kemba out for Victor Oladipo. I mean, shouts out to Victor Oladipo. You know, we wish him a speedy recovery and things of that nature. But boy, what a blow to Indiana. I mean, I know Larry Bird was like, you know, I mean, if you're a Pacers fan, I mean, you're really liking, you know, the way this young team has come together. I mean, last year you take King James to 7 games. I mean, could have honestly, you know, really won that series. You know, if you call a goaltend and, you know, somebody's foot being out of bounds, you know, that could have went a whole different way last year in the playoffs. But, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, listen, shouts out to Victor Oladipo again, wishing him a speedy recovery, you know, and him and, you know, sorry to all those Pacers fans out there. Giannis is the captain for the Eastern Conference side. Of course, I mean, who else were you gonna pick? I mean, like I said, Giannis has honestly raised his game. I mean, he's, like I said, he's the MVP right now to me. I mean, I don't know how you can pick, you know, maybe James Harden, you know, if you're a little bit biased, but I mean, Giannis, he's just that guy right now, you know, and Milwaukee's in a really good spot. Things are really looking up as far as that. Now, on to the big story. As we all know, earlier this year, Anthony Davis from the New Orleans Pelicans did fire his ex-agent and hired Rich Paul, who is the owner of Clutch Sports, who represent LeBron James, you know, amongst a bevy of other, you know, stars and NBA players and things of that nature. And boy, was this something. You know, shouts out to Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, who first reported this, that Anthony Davis did inform the Pelicans that he will not be signing an extension and he will test free agency. I mean, who didn't see that coming? You know, wow, you know, unless you live under a rock. I mean, who didn't see that coming? I mean, 10 days before the trade deadline, though, you know, letting them know, I mean, does put New Orleans in a tough spot, because technically Anthony Davis does have one more year on his contract, so he wouldn't become a free agent until after next year. So if anybody did want him this year, they would have to trade for him, and before the trade deadline, which is next Thursday. So to me, if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm not letting go of Anthony Davis. He has another year on his contract. Let him play out this year. Okay, you guys maybe make the playoffs, if anything, at an 8th seed. If you don't make the playoffs, you know, you get somewhat decent draft pick. And then next year, you know, you trade him before the deadline. You know, see what's out there. You know, don't feel pressured into anything. That's if I'm New Orleans. If I'm the Lakers, I won't lie. At first I said the Lakers, give them anything. Give the Pelicans whatever they want. But I digress. If I'm Magic Johnson, and I'm Magic Johnson, I'm Rob Pelinka, I will give up Ingram. I'll give up Ball. You have to give up KCP in order to make the money work and stuff. And maybe Zubats. You know, maybe you give up Zubats and stuff like that. But if I'm the Lakers, I really want to keep Kyle Kuzma. I mean, I really like Kyle Kuzma and how he's developing, you know, really as a scorer, as somebody who can play with the basketball in his hand, without the basketball in his hand. Now, the only reservation I have with Kyle Kuzma, you know, I wish he was a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball for his size, you know, so he can be able to guard multiple positions. But, I mean, I'm trying to keep Kyle Kuzma. Now, of course, we know the Pelicans would want Kyle Kuzma, but to me, trading that entire young core to get Anthony Davis, I mean, it's just tough, and I say it's tough because even with Anthony Davis, because more than likely, if the Lakers get Anthony Davis, they're probably going to get Carmelo Anthony as well. I mean, he'll probably come over. I mean, I still just don't see that as being enough to beat Golden State, especially with Boogie back on the roster. I mean, I just don't see anybody beating Golden State with that starting five, with Boogie at the 5. I mean, it's just, I think it's damn near impossible, honestly. It's just, I just don't see it happening. So for you, the Lakers, to give up, you know, entirely, you know, the whole house, the kitchen sink, I mean, that's what the Pelicans are going to want, just so you can be, you know, just so you can either lose to the Warriors or lose in the second round and stuff like that. I mean, technically, I don't think the Lakers are going to lose to anybody but the Warriors, but, I mean, it is the Western Conference. You never know. It's just, it's a really tough, because if the Lakers wait until next year, I mean, that's another year of, you know, Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball have under their belt. Kyle Kuzma has another year under his belt. I mean, but then I really think the pressure is on, because now you have to make that deal. But not only that, I haven't even thought of the possibility as one of these other teams trading for Anthony Davis, with and just trying to get him to just stay there. I mean, look at Paul George. Paul George said he wanted to be a Laker. He wanted to play for the Lakers. That's his home. That was his hometown team. And I mean, look, he stayed in OKC. We don't know what Kawhi Leonard is going to do at the end of the year. We've heard he does want to go to LA, but I mean, the way Toronto was looking, I mean, who knows? Who knows? So, I mean, this Anthony Davis thing is very intriguing. I also heard it was reported that the league did fine Anthony Davis $50,000 for for somewhat tampering, which I'm sure the Pelicans really pushed. Once this news came out that he wasn't going to be signed and he wanted to request a trade. So, I mean, it's just listen, this NBA season is getting very interesting. And like I said, who knows if Magic and Rob Pelinka pull this off. I mean, I still, like I said, with AD in LA, I still don't think it's enough to beat the Warriors. So, I mean, why, why give that up? Why? I mean, I always thought this year for the Lakers was, I'm not going to say a throwaway year. No year is a throwaway year. But, I mean, we knew that nobody was going to beat the Warriors. And that was without Boogie Cousins. That was without, Boogie. And Boogie's looking like he's coming into form. It's very difficult for me to believe, or very hard for me to believe, or for anybody to convince me that anybody's beating the Golden State Warriors this year. I mean, I just honestly don't see it at all. So, we shall see, what happens with Anthony Davis, within this next week. But like I said, if I'm the Pelicans, I wait. And not to mention, too, Boston. Boston could be in the running for Anthony Davis. The only thing with Boston is, due to some rule in the NBA, they would have to include a package that includes Kyrie Irving if they were to trade for Anthony Davis before July 1st. Once July 1st hits, now they can, include picks, other players and things of that nature to acquire Anthony Davis. So maybe that might be something that the Pelicans are interested in. So, who knows? I mean, who honestly knows? And there was also reports that Klay Thompson would be interested in the Los Angeles Lakers if they were able to sign Anthony Davis, which, now that would be something crazy. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson on the same team, that would be crazy. And if KD was to leave, I mean, who do the Warriors have left? I mean, Steph and Draymond and, Boogie, which Boogie more than likely will leave. He's looking for money elsewhere. Especially if Golden State wins the championship this year, I mean, I just don't understand. I just don't see how the team stays together. I mean, Klay, you're a 4-time, NBA champion, multi-time All-Star, 3-point contest winner, record threes in a game. I mean, 60 in 3 quarters, 37 in a quarter. I mean, Klay Thompson has nothing left to prove. One of the greatest shooters this game has ever seen. I mean, an elite defender, on the defensive side of the ball. I just don't see what reason would there for be Klay to stay. KD, you're a 3-time NBA champion. I mean, you have at least 2 Finals MVPs. Who knows? Maybe a third in the works. If he does his thing in the finals, if Golden State makes it, just, what else do you have left to prove? Boogie got his ring, I mean, he has his ring. Now he can go do whatever it is he wants to do. Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Year, wants a little bit more respect, wants a little bit more money, 4-time champion. I mean, I just don't see the Warriors staying together. Maybe for another year, and maybe, Steve Kerr could convince them or something, hey, let's do one more year because they do have the new stadium in San Francisco. I'm assuming the Golden State Warriors, organization would love for that team to stay together at least maybe another year. But with the money that people are going to be demanding, I just don't see it, honestly. I really just don't see it. So, we shall see. We shall see what goes on with Golden State, but I mean, AD, that's the big story in the NBA right now, is where's Anthony Davis gonna, you know, land and stuff like that. I mean, again, like I said, to me personally, I mean, I just think it's too soon. It's too pressurized. I mean, I think the Lakers need to make a deal right now, but I mean, if you make a deal and you still don't beat the Warriors this year, was it worth it? You know, unless you make this deal and you're still just looking forward past through next year, then maybe Magic might be doing that, but I'm not sure. So, you know, all in all, that's how I feel. That's what I think as far as the NBA goes. So that is it for this week's episode of Sports Vibes Podcast, man. You know the vibes. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and tune in next week. Next week, I think I might have my first guest host, my first guest on my podcast. You know, I have to talk to some people, you know, pay some bills, you know, talk to some lawyers and stuff like that. I'm just playing, you know, before I do that. But like I said, stay tuned till next week. Until next week, man, you know the vibes.